Welcome to the Hour of Empowerment. Today we are in the last phase of the Hour of Empowerment program. As we discussed it before, we're going to conclude this program and we're going to come up with a new English program. We are gathering your feedback. Today we're going to conclude the last topic, which is ethics and character in leadership. Before we proceed, let's cover what we discussed last week. Last week we talked about character, the meaning of character. What is the definition of character? Character is doing the right thing when nobody is looking. We also gave you a little bit detailed definition about character. Character is the sum total of your ethical and moral values that dictate your behavior, decision, and action. We also talked about why we need character. Why should we bother about character? We should bother about character because if we don't have character, we don't have leadership. Influencing people requires to have character. And we talked about the most important reasons why somebody has to develop character. If you don't have character, you don't have a sustainable leadership. Let me give you a good example. Norman said that leadership is a potent combination of strategy and character. But if you must be without one, be without strategy, which means you have great communication, you have a great cause, you have a great team playing ability, and you have strategies. If you don't have character, you can't succeed in your leadership. So you need to develop character. We also talked about courage versus character. As you know, we can be great in our courage. We may face difficult challenges, obstacles, and so on. If we don't have character, these doesn't count. Because with courage, we have to add more character. That's why we have great heroes and heroines who committed their life for the reason they believed in, but they failed the character test. So with courage, we need to add character in our leadership. The most important question we asked was, how do you know whether you have character or not? It's very difficult. But if you have some indicators, you could be able to know your character, whether you have improved, fine-tuned your character. And we gave you 3 indicators. The first indicator is doing the right thing no matter what. When you develop character, you do the right thing, even if there are consequences. Even if you may not benefit from that deal, you take the right decision because you have character. The second indicator is consistency. When you develop character, people could be able to trust you because you have consistent character, consistent behavior, and decision-making ability. When people see consistency in you, they could be able to see you have character, which means, for example, if you promise people that you're going to be on time, since you have been consistent in being on time, they trust you that you'll be on time when you promise that. Of course, you may not be able to be on time all the time, but they know that whenever you couldn't be able to make it, you let them know that you're going to be late and why you're going to be late. You give them the reason why. So people could be able to predict you. If you say, I'm going to deliver this on this date, they trust you. They have seen you that you have been delivering what you promise. The third indicator is saying the resounding no. The most difficult thing for many of us is to say no in the face of people who ask us something to do, something to say, or something to deliver, which we couldn't be able to do it. Rather than saying no, what we do? We say yes, and then we don't do it. But when you develop character, you say no when you should not accept any assignment, or whenever you are asked to do something and you know that you couldn't be able to deliver it, you say no. These are the 3 important indicators that could be able to tell you that whether you have developed character or not. Today we're going to talk about how do we develop character. Yes, character is very important in our leadership. Yes, more than courage, we need to have character. The question is, how can we develop character? It's very important. Character requires us commitment and effort, consistency, and it takes time. We can't develop character overnight. We have to take time, we have to demonstrate effort and commitment to develop our character. Most importantly, we can't develop character from reading and observing other people demonstrating character. We can't wish or pray and have it. We can't. We have to go out every day and demonstrate character in everything we do. That way we develop character. Character is not also a sprint, but a marathon. That means you can achieve your solid character within a short period of time. It is a marathon, and you have to take time and develop your character. It's a long journey. That's why you need to sit down and identify the character attributes that are very important to construct, to build your character, and it should pass through a process that would help you become a person of character. Last time I talked to you about how Benjamin Franklin, who was a respectful man of character, developed his character. Let me summarize what we discussed about Benjamin Franklin in one of our past episodes. In his autobiography, he talked about how first he assessed his character, and he could be able to see some of the character traits he needs to improve. And then he came up with an action plan. And every day, on a consistent basis, he worked on his character until the end. That's the way we need to develop character. We have to take it very seriously, and we have to develop our character on a consistent basis. Here are the facets of character. Character is not a gift. Character is not for immediate consumption, and character is a process, and it is a lifetime journey. Let's see each one of them one by one. Character is not a gift. Nobody is born with character. You can't have character as a gift. You have to earn it, you have to work and get it by going out every day consistently to develop your character. Character is not for immediate consumption. That means that it is not quick, like you swallow a pill and get healed. That's not the way you develop character. It is like developing immunity. For example, a disease is coming. You want to immunize yourself. And when the disease comes, what happens? You have the antibodies. And then you could be able to resist and beat the disease. So, character, you don't know when you need your character. You don't know. So you have to develop your character before you face some serious challenges, before you face some critical decisions. That's why on a daily basis we have to live our character and develop it. Here is what Weder Rand noted. Character is forged in the smallest of struggles. Then, when the big challenges come, we are ready. So developing character today may not seem that much important or priority for you. Let's say that you don't have people that you influence. You may not have a big business. You may not be a leader of your community, your organization. But you don't know that next month, next week, next year, you may be responsible to influence people and lead change. And at that time, if you don't have character ready, you can't have character. You have to start developing today, one day at a time. One character attribute per day or per week on a consistent basis. Character is also a process. I mean, you can't just have character with one endeavor. By winning some character testing moments. That's how you develop your character. You can't have character by reading, listening, witnessing, or wishing character. You have to pass through a process of developing character. Here is a powerful quotation from an unknown source. Watch your thoughts, for they become words. Watch your words, for they become actions. And watch your actions, for they become habits. Watch your habits, for they become character. Watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. Do you want to have a great and glorious destiny? And then watch your words. Watch your habits. Watch your actions, because these all constitutes your character. If you don't watch your character, that means you're not watching your destiny. Here are the questions I would like to ask you. Question number 1, have you been watching your thoughts, words, actions, habits, and character? The second question, which one of these is the most difficult to master in your life? The third question is, how do you plan to perfect this process whereby you're going to have a solid character that delivers you a glorious destiny? The fourth facet of character is character development is a lifetime journey. You can't achieve character very quickly. But the earlier you acknowledge the importance of developing character, the better it is, because you have time to develop. It is a lifetime assignment. So don't push it aside. Don't make it your less priority. You have to develop your character, assuming that it may take you a lifetime to have the character that you need in your life, in your leadership. And one of the reasons I'm emphasizing on this is because I find people maybe with great personality, judging other people as if they are perfect. But I can tell you that. Yes, they may have a way of dressing, talking, or a style that looks like they are saints. But character is more than being saint, more than being perfect outwardly. It is deeper than that. And you may find someone who has great qualities in terms of being perfect, the way they interact with people. But when you go deeper, when you go inside, they have character flaws. So until you die, until you finish your journey of developing your character, don't judge others and don't act as if you're better than others. For that matter, the people I met who have character, they know that they're not perfect. They are humble enough to believe that they're working on their character, and until they become perfect, they won't judge other people. They focus on their own character and develop their character. They compete with themselves, because greatness comes when you compete with yourself, not with others. Just mind your business, develop your character. If you have people under your influence, of course, help them develop character. I have some disclaimers. Character doesn't come with age or maturity. You can have people, old people, without character. You can have young people with great character. You can have people with great qualifications, but without character. So, character doesn't come with age, maturity, or with your qualification. You can have a PhD, but you may not have character. You may be not a learned person. You don't have any certifications, but you may have great qualities. And let me tell you one thing. You can have great qualification, maturity, and so on, and people may not follow you because they may not trust you. But you may not have these qualifications. You may not be old. You may not be educated and a learning person, but if they see that you have character, they trust you. They follow you. They are influenced by you. So remember, character makes or breaks your leadership. Now let's talk quickly about the process of developing character. First, decide the kind of character attributes you need. In this case, I suggest that find out the kind of industry you take leadership, or find out people you consider as role models, and find out what kind of character attribute they have, and then identify the values that are pillars to your character. And the third one, live up to your character. Once you identify the kind of character attributes you should have, go out every day and practice and get feedback, and most importantly, refine and fine-tune your character. I would like to give you one quotation from Helen Keller. She said that character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. That's so true when it comes to Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, many institutions awarded him many rewards, many prizes, including the 1993 Nobel Peace Prize. And President Obama, in his foreword to Conversation with Myself, he commented that he, Nelson Mandela, has done so much to change his country and the world that it is hard to imagine the history of the last several decades without him. Now the question is, why people admire Nelson Mandela? Some of these people, they never met him. Why he had a global recognition? Yes, it was not because he was at the front in the fight against apartheid. There were actually, in his own words, there were great freedom fighters who were at the front, who even sacrificed their life. But he got the recognition. Yes, it was not because he was imprisoned for a very long period of time, because there were freedom fighters imprisoned for a very long period of time who died even in jail. But the recognition of Nelson Mandela was his character. Yes, Nelson Mandela had passion and charisma, but these were not the ones that gave him the iconic status he had around the world. Here is what John Maxwell said. It is true that charisma can make a person stand out for a moment, but character sets a person apart for a lifetime. That happened to Nelson Mandela, because it was not because of his charisma. It was because of his character. He was set apart from other leaders, and he got a lifetime recognition. Do you want to be recognized throughout your lifetime? Do you want to be trusted? Do you want to influence people and finally achieve your dream? Lead your organization and meet your organizational goals? Develop character. Of course, his character was shaped while he was in jail. In his book, Long Walk to Freedom, he wrote that character was measured by facing up to difficult situations, and that a hero was a man who would not break even under the most trying circumstances. Character was measured by facing up to difficult situations, and that a hero was a man who would not break even under the most trying circumstances. And Mandela was tried in difficult circumstances, and he was a hero because he was not broken. The oppressions, the intimidations, and the persecutions that he passed through couldn't be able to break him. Rather, it molded his character. For the benefit of South African, both black and whites, and for the benefit of the world, Mandela overcame the oppressions, the intimidations, and also the pressures. Otherwise, jail is the best place to complain and resent. But that was not the case when it came to Nelson Mandela. Jail, rather, difficult situations, rather, made him to become stronger, calmer, patient leader, forgiving, serving, and loving leader. You can have these if you want to develop character. Rather than trusting your eloquence, rather than trusting your qualifications, rather than trusting your networks, trust your character. You become like him, an iconic leader who could be able to influence others because of your character. But we're not talking about Mandela as a saint or a perfect human being. He never claimed that. Here is what he said: I am not a saint unless you think of a saint as a sinner who keeps on trying. So nobody is requiring you to become perfect or a saint as you take leadership. Character is not about sainthood or perfection, because there is no one perfect person. If you are looking for perfect leaders, there are none. No perfect leader. And nobody expects you to be perfect. Now let's talk about how do you measure the character strength of someone. It's very subjective, because the character strengths that you look from, for example, a law enforcement person is very different than a spiritual leader, a business leader, and so on. And there are also numerous characteristics that could be able to help you the character of someone. There are hundreds of character attributes, but for the sake of measuring the character of Nelson Mandela, let's use 4 attributes: love, integrity, and loyalty, and humility. Let's quickly cover love. When I talk about love, I'm not talking about a romantic love. I'm talking about love to humanity. Loving beyond your bodies, your friends, and your relatives. Loving even the people who persecute you, people who hurt you. So Nelson Mandela, when we measure his character, he loved his family, his country, his people, and children. But most importantly, he loved the leaders of apartheid, who destroyed his family and adulthood. Rather than despising them and seeking revenge, what he did, he forgave the people who abandoned him on an island for 27 years. What a love. What a forgiveness. So, he, rather than being, resentful, what he did was, he chose to forgive, love, and even negotiate with his enemies. Not only that, he challenges South Africans by saying, if there are dreams about a beautiful South Africa, there are also roads that lead to their goal. 2 of these roads could be named goodness and forgiveness. Let's measure Mandela's character by using integrity. Integrity is not just telling the truth. It's beyond that. It is walking the truth. It's walking the talk. It's keeping your words and delivering your promises. Now let's measure Mandela. He kept his words even while he was in jail. That's why the apartheid leadership selected him to negotiate with him, because they knew that if he gave them his words, he will maintain them. He will protect his words with his life. That's why they negotiated with him. But since he was a man of integrity, he didn't sell out his party and his country and South Africans. When he promised South Africans that he's going to be a president for 1 term, he kept his words. And he only became a one-time president. He could have been a president for lifetime, but he didn't choose that. He promised 1 term, he delivered it. The question to you and me is, can we live up to our own words, our own promises? Let's use loyalty. Loyalty is a very rare commodity, I can tell you that. Can you find a loyal partner, a loyal friend, a loyal employee, a loyal boss? It's very difficult. It's a rare commodity. Loyalty means standing for someone, for your organization, for your team, in good and bad times, and always to keep their best interest in your heart. Of course, it's very different than blind loyalty. When you are loyal to your friend, your partner, your leader, it doesn't mean, or to your followers, it doesn't mean that you don't correct them when they make mistake. It doesn't mean that you don't point out their weaknesses. But your intention is not to take advantage of their weaknesses and failure. Your intention is to help them improve, to help them succeed. Of course, Mandela was loyal both to Winnie, his commanders, and ANC. When the apartheid leaders lured him to negotiate to secure his release, he refused. He told them that his goal is to bring the two parties, which means ANC and apartheid, together for a talk. Can you see loyalty here? He could have secured his release by selling out ANC. He didn't do it. He didn't betray his colleagues and commanders. Rather, he was loyal to them. Humility. Humility means being modest, meek. But it doesn't mean that you deny who you are and what you have. But who you are, your knowledge, your recognition should not stop you from relating with others and learning from others. When we talk about humility, well, Oprah Winfrey in 2000, she interviewed Nelson Mandela, and she confessed that the most humble person she ever met is Mandela. The most humble person she met was Mandela. Here is what he said in that interview. Humility is one of the most important qualities which you must have, because if you are humble, if you make people realize that you are not a threat to them, and then people will embrace you. They will listen to you. Humility is one of the most important qualities which you must have, because if you are humble, if you make people realize that you are not a threat to them, and then people will embrace you. They will listen to you. Of course, I want to make it very personal. I talked about Mandela. Let's talk about something personal. I had many conversations with friends about different things. I want to share with you one conversation I had with a friend. And we were talking about drinking coffee, and we were talking about how we choose friends and colleagues. And I gave the first shot to him. And he told me that he uses integrity to choose his friends and colleagues. But I was curious, because integrity means different to different people. So I asked him, what does integrity mean to you? And he told me that telling the truth no matter what. So I just want to make sure that we are on the same page. So I disagreed. And I told him that for me, integrity is not just telling the truth. It's about walking the talk. And always people may not deliver what they promise to you. If you want to have perfect friends who deliver what they promise, friends who are going to keep their promises, well, you don't have that kind of opportunity in this world. Nobody is perfect. But if somebody is a person of integrity, if he promises something and if he couldn't be able to deliver it, he has to come to me and renegotiate. That I call integrity. Otherwise, there is flaw in his premises. So I told him that, for example, you want to have friends and colleagues and you want them to tell you the truth no matter what. The question is, do you have the trust of these guys? Have you earned their trust to tell you something that makes them vulnerable, impossible? So before I earn trust of my friends and my colleagues, I can't demand on them to tell me everything. Impossible. And of course, in friendship and colleague, as far as I'm concerned, character is not about what my friends and my colleagues eat, drink, and do in their private life. My interest with my colleagues and my friends is I want them to be truthful about our common goals. Let's say I have a boss, or I have a colleague, a partner. I just want to know that he's telling me the truth about our goals. Can he tell me the true future of me in that organization? If he intends to release me, let's say 3 months from now, can he be a man of integrity to tell me that he doesn't need me any longer in 3 months? That's the kind of integrity I'm looking for. Of course, people have to use their own discernment and discretion in telling the truth. I can give you a case. Let's say that you are an undercover. You want to catch the bad guys. And now you have integrity. Now, if integrity is telling the truth, if you go to the bad guys and tell them the truth no matter what, guess what? They're going to kill you. You can't serve the higher purpose, which means bringing the bad guys to justice, if you tell them the truth. Let's say that somebody comes up to you claiming that he's your friend and your colleague. Do you tell him your bank account? Do you tell him your password? So, if you don't tell the truth to some people, doesn't mean that you don't have integrity. I can give you another example. The prophet Samuel, he was told to anoint the next king, David. But he didn't tell that to the contemporary king, David Saul. If he did tell him that, he would have killed Samuel and David. And Israel wouldn't have that great king. So you have to use your judgment and your discretion when you tell the truth. But always make sure that you tell the truth when you are in court and when you communicate with law enforcement. Of course, tell the truth to your inner circles and your lovers if you trust them. But for the people you work with and casually meet, you have to know to whom you open up yourself. That doesn't mean that you don't open up, but first they have to earn your trust. If you find someone insisting that you should trust him without earning your trust, you have to be careful. Of course, he asked me what kind of character attributes I look from friends and colleagues, and I told him that loyalty. Loyalty means people are committed to your friendship and your partnership. If I must choose between two people, the first person is a person who has everything but loyalty. The second person is a person who has nothing but loyalty. I go for the next person. He doesn't have anything. He has nothing but loyalty. I go for that one if I must choose between these two people. So the character attributes I look from friends and the character attributes that I want to give to my friends and colleagues and partners is loyalty. Of course, it doesn't mean that you should follow me or my friend. You don't need to support him or me. You can have your own character attributes to use in measuring the kind of people you want to have around you. But loyal people for me is they are committed people. So if somebody is not committed, if somebody is treating you casually, if he's not serious about your common goals, if he's not serious about your well-being, what is the use of having a great intellectual, a great, generous, and skillful and talented and gifted person? It doesn't matter. He's not committed. She's not committed. He's not loyal. She's not loyal. Therefore, we have to make sure that in our choices of people, in our influence, we have to always look for loyalty. That's why many organizations, parties, nations reward loyal people. Loyal people who sacrifice their life to the thing they believe in. They support you as much as they could and always make your priority their priority. The good thing about loyal people is that they're not looking for your strengths only. They also understand that you have weaknesses, and it doesn't matter. They love you, they like you, about who you are. It's not about your weaknesses. When you fail, they understand that we all fail. Loyal people, they don't take advantage of your failure, your mistakes, and betray you. They don't shift loyalty because you failed. They don't. They stand with you no matter what. When you are up, they are there. When you are down, they are there. They're always there to make sure that you succeed, to make sure that you progress. So you need this kind of loyal employees. You need this kind of loyal partners, friends, and colleagues. And you should be, as a leader, loyal to the people who are under your influence. You should be a loyal leader to the people that you lead. That's why many people love dogs. Dogs, even if their owner dies, they are loyal. They stay there for days to mourn their owner. The question is, do we have loyalty to the people we claim we are serving, the people we claim we lead? If we have that, we are great leaders, and great things awaits to loyal people. In conclusion, yes, you need character to succeed in your leadership, but character is a process, and it requires you to make efforts, and you have to demonstrate commitment to develop your character. That's why we talked about Mandela, because Mandela was celebrated because of his character. Character in terms of his love to the people around him, to his colleagues, to his family, and to his country, to his party, and his integrity, keeping his promises, loyalty, always making the needs and the priorities of his party and his family first, and also making himself humble. He knew his weaknesses and always admits when he makes mistakes. Therefore, if we want to succeed in our leadership, there are many character attributes that we should develop. But we need to find out at least the most important character attributes that are very important for us to succeed. I want to give you what the Secretary General of United Nations said about Mandela. He said that Mandela is a living embodiment of the highest values of the United Nations. He is an exemplary global citizen. Why the Secretary General of the United Nations made Mandela an exemplary global citizen? Because of his character, because of his values. He had great values that made him an iconic global leader. The question to you is, what did you learn from the story of Mandela? Yes, he was jailed for a very long period of time. Yes, he was a committed leader. Yes, he was a great communicator, charismatic and passionate. But he was loved and respected and recognized around the world because of his character. Do you want to be a change agent? Do you want to leave legacy? Well, consider about developing your character. But don't forget that character is a lifetime journey, and wherever you are right now, wherever you are in that spectrum of character, don't frustrate. Don't get discouraged. Move on. Develop your character on a consistent basis. And at the end of the day, your character pays you back. Next week, we're going to have a discussion, an interview about character. Until I see you then, thank you very much for watching.